All right, people, here we go. It is now a Wednesday. It is February the 5th, and it is time for another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show, powered by WagerTalk.com. I'm Joe Raineri, SportsGrid.com, joined by Mr. Rob Vino of SportsMemo, Mr. Ski Prophet of WagerTalk.com, and, of course, Mr. Tony Finn of WagerTalk.com. We got 9 games on the slate tonight, guys, in the association. Some interesting games. Also, we are staring down the barrel of a trade deadline. No new news just yet outside of the overnight yawn fest where Clint Capella is on his way to Atlanta, which I don't hate. I actually kind of like that. But outside of that, we haven't really a whole lot of talk, a whole lot of rumors, not a lot of action, which makes some of these games tonight, guys, a little bit interesting to look at because we don't know. We're hearing 1,001 different things, but some guys may be a part of a team tonight by tip-off. Others may not. So, Finn, what are you doing at this particular time? How are you approaching some of these games with guys whose names we keep hearing?
Well, if there's rumors and they surround any singular franchise, I run like a scared chicken. I run hard from these games. I mean, why would you put yourself in the middle of it unless you know something, unless you're privy to some information that is relevant that we talked about earlier. If you find out that D'Angelo Russell all of a sudden he has actually been traded, and you want to push in the mortgage on all your homes around South Beach. Brooklyn will fail you as soon as you do that. So I run from those games, and we'll wait till the dust settles. Yep. For me, in my opinion. I don't know about you guys.
Couple of more hours here to see what we've got going on. But in the meantime, here, quick recap of last night. It sucked ass, so we'll move on. Let's talk about the first game here tonight. I mean, come on. You got any chalk with that wine last night? Holy shit, really? Like mixing an underdog here or there, will you? There's like yawn fest. Lakers blowout. Denver blowout. Like, all right, thank you. Chalky Tuesday. No thanks. I'd rather die on that hill with them dogs any day than that chalky crap that was last.
I'll take it then.
Listen, Ski didn't even pick his damn Lakers, and they blew. You ought to do that. You ought to do that shit more often, Ski. Like, don't pick the Lakers, and they'll blow people out, man. Absolutely crazy. But it's listen. 4 for 4, 4-0 straight up and against the number of the favorites last night. No thanks. I think we'll have a little bit better opportunity tonight, especially along the dog front. So let's start, guys, with the top of the card, and we'll look at Game 1. And how about the Phoenix Suns taking on the Detroit Pistons here? Interesting enough, guys, Detroit is on a 13-1 against the number run versus Phoenix here. They are home. 218 is what I'm seeing as a total. 3.5 is the number. It's kind of stayed that way all day long. Rob Vino, I'll start with you, my friend. Talk to me. Phoenix Suns just have had zero luck and zero profitability against Detroit here over the last 14 times. What makes you?
For a game that's so meaningless, Joe, there's kind of a lot to talk about here when you try and handicap this thing. Phoenix has been on a bad run. So I guess we chalk them up to hell no. Phoenix again, 2-6 against the spread. Last 8 games, 2-6 6-2 under the total. Not covering, not going over the total, which had been a pretty good. When they were going good, they were scoring points. Here's the deal with this team. They're missing now their numbers 5 through 8 leading scorers. You're missing Aaron Baines, 11.5 a game. You're missing Frank Kaminsky, 11 a game. Dario Saric out again tonight, 9.6 a game. Cam Johnson, North Carolina rookie, 7.8 a game. That's 40 points a game, guys, from their 5 through 8. That puts a lot of burden on 1 through 4 to get it done. It's the third game in the last 4 nights. I think the lack of scoring. Saric has just been out for the last couple of days. So when you keep compounding these injuries, things get worse and worse. They had survived the first 3 injuries. Those guys have been out for a while. But since Saric went out, they haven't reached 110 points in 6 of their last 7 games. So when I saw this push to under, makes a lot of sense. Because if you combine it with Detroit, they're without 4. Their top 6 scorers, again, they've been without a bunch of them for a while. But when you're minus your leader, Derrick Rose, 18.5 a game, and now if Markieff Morris doesn't play again, that's 11 a game. Their 4 guys that they're missing are worth 61 points a game. For me, give me under in this contest. I just don't. I know Denver went over with the Pistons the other day, but I don't see that happening here. I would say under 219 and a half.
Ski, talk to me, brother. How you leaning in this guy? Listen, Detroit for a long time. Hell no, unless they're at home. Well, they're at home.
Yeah, and both of these teams, I think, bottom 5 offensive rated teams over the last 5 games. So I agree with everything Rob said towards the under. And I still can't get myself to go towards Detroit. Both of these teams are hell no teams. I know Rob said maybe Phoenix got off the hell no list, but they never did for me. So I look at the starting lineups, if that's the case, and Phoenix starting lineup is a lot better than Detroit. I would have to side with Phoenix, even though they both have been bad. Their offense has been better. Their defense has been better. It'll be Phoenix or under. And if I have to play, it's not either side.
Oh, wow. Look at that. All right, Tony Finn, talk to us here, brother. Where are you going?
Well, Rob made a very good point. If you like the first 5 for Phoenix better than you like Detroit, then maybe Phoenix is a play here. But I have no clue. I really do. And I'm one of those. You guys know me. I'm pretty confident on most games how I feel one side or the other. But this game is at this point in time in the NBA, guys, everyone that's listening, everyone that's in the audience, trade deadlines, all-star breaks coming up. The 4 of us could talk about that game. We already talked about a little bit of that Clippers game last night, or the Lakers game in San Antonio. It's craziness. You think you got a dead winner at halftime, and you're not even close when you start seeing what they're doing. And in this case, I'm going to be always on the home dog when it's 2 teams that are in a situation where if you know what they're going to do, and listen, Joe, if you know what they're going to do, then you're on my team every night. I want to tell me what's going to happen in this game and be 50% right, and you're a better man than me.
Yeah, I got no clue. I'm still trying to figure out. I got the JD throwing bombs here in the chat room. Apparently, I got to work on the audio because you guys suck.
Well,
somebody's
that's
echoing again. So, all right, JD, why don't you put your ass to work and just let us know if it happens again throughout, because I know it ain't my microphone. So we'll see here what else we got, Tony Finn. All right, so let's go game number 2 here. How about, we'll skip that game because that game sucks. So we'll go to, how about the Pacers at Toronto, guys? Interesting game, 7:30. Toronto here at home has been pretty profitable. Lane 6, guys, 216.5 as a total. And Rob, I'll start with you, man. What do you think Toronto's chances of continuing to roll? Nobody's been hotter. I believe Gasol is out in this game. I'm not sure about Norman Powell, but I believe Gasol's out. Does it even matter at this point? Indiana seems like they're still trying to figure it out with Oladipo and the rotations and everything else. Hasn't been good for him.
Yeah, not having Gasol hasn't hurt so far, Joe. We talked the other day about how Toronto was kind of on this little scrub tour where they wind up beating all 4 of those teams straight up. Atlanta, Cleveland, Detroit, Chicago, all 4 wins. 3-1 against the spread against those 4 teams. So for Toronto, the Gasol injury hasn't seemed to matter. But on the other side of that coin is this T.J. Warren injury for Indiana, which I think hurts. In the offseason, this was an overlooked move made by the Indiana Pacers. T.J. Warren, one of the prime offensive contributors on this team, and they haven't fared well in their last 4 games. Without Warren, they didn't do well the other night, and they're 1-3 over the course of their last 4 against the spread. It's the first of a back-to-back, which could mean something when they meet up later in the week. Maybe we'll have something to go off of from this contest. That's kind of the way I might approach it. But if I had to, I'd be on Toronto, guys. I don't see any reason to stop playing Toronto at this point. It's a team that scores. Indiana defensively might be able to take away some of that transition that Toronto loves, but I still think Toronto's probably got too much firepower without T.J. Warren on the other side. So slight lean towards Toronto here, and a couple days from now we'll relook at this and see if we can find something, where we can make a more solid play.
Well, we seem to have lost Finn, or he went and took a shit. One of the other, I don't know. All of a sudden, he's just he's completely gone. So we'll see if we can't get him back. Another guy just walks off set here and just decides to leave us. So, Ski, it is all you, brother. Give us the breakdown here. Toronto at home tonight, taking on an Indiana team that just at some point they got to get it back together.
Yeah, at some point, but I really don't like that T.J. Warren is out. I mean, that's defense, that's offense. And until Victor Oladipo looks like Oladipo again, I think that's when the Pacers are going to start to roll. So I would stick with the hotter team, Toronto. They've been better all the way down the board, offense, defense, rebounding. If I had to go with the total, Toronto's been playing with pace. They've been playing towards overs. I'll see it being more points than less in this one. So I'll go towards Toronto or the over.
All right, Toronto or the over. Finn, welcome back here. Thanks for joining us. Good God. Talk to us
it's
here.
a beautiful day here, and so I kind of opened up the office a little bit but it's a little windy, so forgive me. And
Toronto, Indiana, Finn, please. What do you got? Give us something here.
And Toronto's been, guys, no matter what injuries Toronto has been forced to play through, whether it be Powell, like today, Powell's out. As you mentioned, I believe he's out. I've been told he's out. They still have about the fourth or fifth best number, or the best record against the number. No matter what the situation is, Nurse seems to coach these guys through it, and it's very difficult. And you're right, Indiana has struggled. So in this situation, I didn't play this game. I didn't recommend this game. But if I'm on this game, I'm on Toronto minus the touchdown with the no extra point, simply because Indiana's yet to show me that they have found a way to include Home Depot into that mix and be successful.
Okay, so we got Indiana at Toronto, guys. Interesting enough, Toronto on a 5-1 against the number run versus Indiana. Look to continue that tonight, and we'll look to continue to try to figure out exactly what Tony is talking about sometimes. We'll move on to Orlando and Boston here, fellas. Orlando, the Magic, 208. I'm shocked it's that high, 208.5. The number is 5.5 is what I'm seeing regarding the Boston Celtics now. Kemba Walker appears to be out. Cantor, Hayward in at this point. So, I don't know. Fournier's probable, but he may be traded, we're hearing. So it's kind of a weird game there, Rob Vino. Talk to us. How you leaning in this one?
Yeah, and not just Fournier, right, Joe? When you read it, you told us Fournier and another, and another significant player, right?
Yep, Aaron Gordon as well.
Yeah, so those two guys, I mean, it'd be very difficult to play this game if that trade, in fact, does happen. It could be just rumor and speculation, or it could happen, which is what makes these games right before trade deadline so difficult to play. Let me firm up one thing here, too, before I get into analysis. I don't put teams on the hell no list. I asked for Ski's permission to put teams on the hell no list. I ask if Phoenix belongs on the hell no list before. I'm not the guy who has the power and authority to do that. Although I will say, I pretty much placed Tony Finn's Utah Jazz on the hell no list on Twitter the other night after they frigged up for the third or fourth straight game. But in this one, Joe, Orlando's on kind of the same exact trend as Phoenix that we just talked about. They're 2-7 against the number in their last 9. Mm-hmm. You know who the two covers were against? The two covers were both against Charlotte. Miserable basketball team. Otherwise, they're 0-7 over that span. And they're 2-7 under the total. We know it's a low-scoring team. We know it's a slow-paced team. That might be surprising. But they just haven't played well. They just got done playing Boston and lost 109-98 back on the 24th of January, which is pretty recent. So Boston's had their, or at least recently had their number. But those injuries that you discussed, and we talk about it all the time, if there's one piece that you don't want to get involved with Boston with if they're missing, it's Kemba Walker. And it's a little tough to get involved with them if they're going to be in a favorite situation and Kemba's not present. It's got to be a pass game, right? Because we don't even know who's going to be on the floor tonight for the Orlando side.
Yeah, I mean, Ski's got a point, man. It's kind of tough. I mean, given everything, let's say nothing happens, how are you leaning here in this game?
If nothing were to happen, I agree with Rob. The one person I went in is Kemba. But at the same time, Orlando is just not good versus better teams. 7-15-2 versus 55% when teams are greater. They haven't been covering lately or winning. 1-5 straight up and against the spread last 6 games. And Boston's been just the opposite. They've been winning against the numbers. So, if the guys are out, it probably would be a slam dunk. If the guys are in, I would still lean towards Boston. And on the total, it'd have to be under because if Gordon and Fournier are out, that's a lot of offense gone. And if they're in, I still think without Kemba, that's offense gone. So I would lean towards under or Boston.
Listen to that. Where you going there, Tony? I mean, a lot of question marks here, but given everything, if it stays status quo, where are you leaning?
Well, first off, I find out whose ski is hell no list is, and I'm bet on them.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Let's draw
So
the bombs already.
you may want to change your attack mode.
You're telling me to wake up, Tony. Okay.
Orlando, 21 wins, 22 wins on the season, only 5 wins against teams that are currently within. If the playoffs started today, would be against playoff teams. They really don't compete very well. They play very well against teams in their own bracket, not against teams that are as Boston, but Boston's shorthanded, shorting a lot of points. Marcus Smart, a lot of things going on. But I look at this number, guys. Opened up at 210, right around there, down to about 208. I agree 100% with the move here. I would be on the under, despite the fact that this is a small number. I don't expect much up and down the floor, regardless who's playing and who's not playing, especially if Kim is out. Like the under.
Talk to me, guys, about a very interesting game here. Certainly from the standpoint of I don't get the number. Minnesota is at home. They are laying 4.5 points. The total keeps going up. It's at 239, opened up at 235.5. Taking on the Atlanta Hawks. So, I don't know. Ski, I'll start with you. Atlanta, are they a 4.5? Well, should they be a 4.5 point dog to Minnesota, who last I checked hasn't won or covered a game since January 9th, I believe, somewhere along those lines. So, what the hell gives here? What are we missing?
Well, no, I don't think they should be, but there are a lot of people on that injury report.
Yeah.
With that said, I think I saw Trae Young as probable. I think I saw Werther as probable. So, I mean, that's kind of enough for me. And Minnesota, you touched on probably the last 8 games. That's what I have, 0-8 against the spread, the last 8. But Karl Anthony Towns, the last time he won a game was closer to Thanksgiving. So I'm not expecting Minnesota to come in and win. I would take the plus money with the dog.
Taking the plus money with the dog. I'm kind of with you. Rob, talk to me. How you leaning in this one?
Yeah, I mean, I could see that point. It's difficult because we don't know if Andrew Wiggins is even going to play with this team tonight. He's thrown around in trade rumors for D'Angelo Russell. And, when these guys are blowing around in the speculation wind like this, it makes it tough. But I'm going to use what you said before, Joe. If nothing were to happen, the total's been bet up, and rightfully so. I mean, Atlanta always plays games in this range, maybe not the 239 range, but at least mid-230s. I went back about 17, 18 games, and their totals are either between 226 or 237, so they consistently are up in this spot. They probably won't have the services of Clint Capella tonight, but as long as DeAndre Hunter, who went through shoot-around this morning, can start for this team, they're going to score on Minnesota, and Minnesota's going to score back because that's what they do. So if I had to, I'd probably take a slight look at the over, Joe, but I think we've said it before here, that 240 number, as you approach it, it gets to be like a death sentence playing over 240. You just don't want to get there because I know you pointed it out time and time again. It only takes about 3 or 4 bad minutes to wreck that number for you if you're playing over. So, maybe a slight lean that way, but not real heavy.
Yeah. All right. Finn, where you rolling here with this one?
Well, you got Minnesota's. There's only one team worse against this number this year than Minnesota. I believe I'm correct by saying Detroit, but they're both pretty close. Atlanta hasn't been terrific against the number. I agree with Rob here. Unfortunately, we've lost some value in this total. It climbed a little bit overnight, and then this morning the sharps hit this in about 15 or 20 minutes. It went from 37 to 39, and this is where we're probably going to sit. I'd still lean to the over in this as long as I knew Wiggins was playing. Other than that, it's a no play for me.
All right, so let's go to a game here, guys, and I'm sure everyone is, and I know everyone in the chat room has just been absolutely dying to hear. The Utah Jazz are home. Yay, taking on them Denver Nuggets here, Tony Finn. So what we're going to do is we're just going to isolate you, my friend, and we're going to let you tell us what you think about this game. The Jazz at home, back-to-back here for Denver. What are you thinking, Tony? Where are you leaning? Talk to me.
Well, you know how I feel. Listen, the Jazz have been good this year, and when I've been on them, they've been very, very good to me for the most part. You know how I feel about the Jazz laying almost double digits. How many games has this team won by double digits this year? There's been a couple times that they've been given 14 or 15 points. It's crazy. However, tonight, this is a situation where I really like Utah. Again, even though we've lost a lot of value from 7.5 to 9, that's what I'm showing right now is the number. Let's just put it this way: Utah has owned Denver at altitude in their place. I believe they're 9-0 last 9 games straight up, and 7 or 8-2. 7-2-1, something like that against the number. The situation is right. Utah is. I beg Quinn to not play Conley as much tonight. When the less Conley plays, the better Utah is. And if you're asking me and putting a gun in my head, I'm not playing it. I didn't play it. I'm not releasing it. But I still like Utah minus the 9.
Likes Utah minus the 9. All right. Yeah. So talk to me, Rob Vino. Where are you going with this game here tonight?
Boy, it's a large number, guys. Remember last week we talked when it was the very first meeting of the year between these two teams. They were tied for first place. Utah came in with a situational advantage and got buried. Well, not buried, but they lost to a very short-handed Denver Nuggets team in Denver. So tonight, I mean, if you want to take a revenge angle because they're divisional rivals and they are battling for first place, I guess you could semi-apply that. We don't apply revenge all that often in the NBA, but I guess it's something that you could potentially use as part of a handicap here. The Denver lineup, though, again, guys, very shorthanded. Now, last night they run 9 guys out there, 9 guys that play 18 and a half minutes or better. They were low on the minutes with Jamal Murray coming back. I don't think he played 20 last night in that game. But in a trade yesterday, they lost Malik Beasley. Am I right about that? Malik Beasley got traded out of there, so that loses 1 guy. Plumlee and Millsap won't play again. That's 3 guys. Jeremy Grant gets hurt last night. That could be 4 guys. Michael Porter Jr. is a question mark. That could be 5 guys. You're going to miss 5 guys. I know they're deep and all, but back-to-back nights, shorthanded 5 guys that all contribute, I can't play that. I don't like the idea of playing Utah minus 9. And the way their defense has played the last 4 games, you really don't like playing Utah minus 9.
Yeah.
But at some point, it's got to straighten out. You know, it's the lesser of two evils, right? It's like voting for president.
Yeah, no, he's right. I mean, Ski, how do you approach this game tonight, man?
You know, it's a little bit different for me. Usually, I like to look at how teams are doing recently, and if I look at that for Denver, I mean, it's Denver down the board because Utah's 0-4-1 against the spread their last 5 games. They look like shit. But I forgot who said it, but the spot is right for Utah.
Yes, it is.
Denver coming on a back-to-back, and Utah, they haven't played since Saturday. Missing all the players because of the trade for Denver as well. It just has to be Utah on the side. And as far as the total, I probably would just go under. It's hard to back that the way the Jazz defense has been, but, I mean, they've had a few days off to correct it. Maybe they can hold Denver down and just get a nice, easy win.
So I got to tell you, guys, a couple of things we're seeing in the chat room here. Jazz 10-3 to the over as a favorite since January 6th. That's thank you, by the way, to something called Old Donuts. Appreciate that. Also, a lot of Utah support here, and we're looking for little Jazz hands there, Tony. Little Jazz hands to support your Utah Jazz. Thank you. Over Denver playing 3 and 4 nights. Nuggets last 4 games to beat the Blazers, Bucks, and Jazz. Lost to the Pistons, which is kind of crazy. Denver 19-3 straight up with no rest here. It's a lot of unknowns in this game, guys. That's the problem here. And Denver, do I trust them on a back-to-back? They've been good in the past, but it just comes down to a matter of bodies, doesn't it? Like, how much can you trust who's going to be there and who's going to be there, really? And Utah, not good, guys. It's been a little rough stretch here over the last couple of weeks, which brings me to the final game of the night here, guys, which I'm looking forward to. Miami Heat taking on them Clippers. This game opened up at 223. It's been pushed up to 224.5. The number I saw it at 7 for a little while this morning, guys. It did get pushed up to Miami Heat getting 7 points. It did come back down. It is at 6.5. It's where it remains. So I'll start with you, Tony Finn, man. Talk to me here. The Miami Heat getting 6.5 points on the road. And by the way, just a stat for you, last 15 times the Clippers have come off a win. They are 4-11 against the number the following game. So it's not like they're in great form right now. What do you think, Tony?
Listen, the Clippers, if you watched them 2 nights ago against that San Antonio team, you saw a team that knows who they are. You guys, you watched this. They just messed around in the first half against San Antonio. They got down by as many as 13 or 15 points. They came out in the third quarter, shut San Antonio down. Not that it takes Hercules to do such, but limit them 19 points and did what they want. And they really actually kind of messed around in the fourth quarter, just enough to win that game by a handful of points. And Miami has been really good lately. All those games have been at home. They haven't been quite as capable or as competent or as efficient on the road, but I think the number's right here. I think if you're going to be playing this game, and I'm not, guys, I apologize, I'm not on it, but it's hard not to take Miami in a touchdown in a game as well as they've been played, as healthy as they're as healthy as they've been all year, and many times you don't know what you're getting with the Clippers as far as what they're doing with Kawhi, et cetera, et cetera. I think everyone will play tonight, but I'm leaning, guys. I'll take Miami in the points in this. I don't know about you.
Hey, listen, Ski, it's kind of hard not to, right? I mean, the value is obviously there with the Heat, who have done really good on the road against better competition. The big problem with the Heat over the last year and a half has been when they play the Clevelands and Detroits of the world. That's when they kind of lose interest. But they certainly get up and have been very profitable on the road against the better teams here. Is it just too much value to pass up?
I have to take the points if I'm taking a side. And, the Clippers, they're also shopping Montrez. You don't know if he's even going to stay. I don't know why they're shopping him or what they want, but
yeah,
that also could be something. But Miami, last 5 game stats, offensive rated, they're the second best team. They're better on the rebounds as well, so I'll take them on the side. But I have to look towards the total. I disagree with the line move. Miami second slowest in pace over their last 5. Clippers middle of the pack, but both top 10 defensive rated teams. So I would look towards less points. I know the last time they met up, it went cruised over the total, but both teams were super tired. I think it was third game in 4 nights and 4 games and 6 nights for the other team. This went under 8 of the last 10 times these two teams meet up, so I'll go with under, and I'll lean towards Miami.
All right, Old Donuts, loving your under there, agreeing with it. What say you, Rob Vino?
Yeah, that meeting that just took place about 10 days ago, Joe, down in South Beach, the Clippers walk in. They win 122-117. Nobody walks into Miami and wins straight up, never mind cover a point spread, or never mind win straight up covering a point spread. But the lineups were significantly deficient in that game. For the LA Clippers, you have no Paul George, you have no Patrick Beverly. They still get to 122. For the other side, you have no Goran Dragic, you have no Kendrick Nunn. They still get to 117. My opinion here is that, when LA puts their 5 starters on the floor, still, it's not debatable that Pat Beverly, Kawhi Leonard, and Paul George are first-team all-defensive guys that can lock down whatever Miami's going to throw at them. And like Tony said the other night, when they chose to play defense to start the third quarter, San Antonio, a potent offensive team, could not score.
Look horrible.
So for me, I just, Miami's been great at home. And even though they're getting points here, which looks substantial, I just can't get to that side. I think I disagree and be on the Clippers, but I would totally agree with Ski and think that this is going to be more of a playoff atmosphere type game between these two, where you get 48 full minutes of focused effort, which means you're going to get defense from both sides and maybe a little more half-court offense. So under might look good as well.
And Joe, I'm going to throw this in real quickly, and that is, but listen, Leonard had a really good game. I think it was his first triple. Yeah, it was his first triple-double of the year. And Butler was average, and this game still went over. Here's the problem I have, and that is the Clippers really do have the perimeter defense to handle 6'7" Butler. I think he had 20 points in that game. He was 6 for 15 from the field. So that's the conundrum here, but it's a heck of a lot of points. So I like the under as well too.
I know there is, and they're talking about it in the chat room as well. I do believe Tyler Hero is out in this game for Miami. So is I believe Miles Leonard. He is also out. Myers Leonard ankle, they're out, but they are still extremely deep on that bench there. Second unit with Dragic is still one of the best in the league. So It just seems like a lot of points. I'm with you guys. I don't know that we're going to get nearly as many points as some people are thinking it's going to be, so I might be leaning the under in this one as well. And we got one request from the chat room here, one of the fine folks following us, and a big shout out to the usual crew joining us here today. Big shout out to the OG in the house. Thank you very much for stopping by, Jose Felix, Public Enemy 508. Lanza, we got a ball. We got a mellow ball in the room. So pleasure to see you there as well. Also wood planking or some sort of planking. Where is he? King Weasel. That's who I was looking for. Shedrick, good to see you. Ricky Bobby. The planked woodworking still wants jazz hands. Tony is a little pissed he hasn't gotten it yet. We'll deal with that in a minute. But let's talk to King Weasel here. Would like to know, just quickly, guys, I'll go around your thoughts on the Nets game tonight. The Brooklyn Nets taking on at home at the Barclays, taking on the Golden State Warriors. And, Rob, I'll start with you. 6.5, 223 is a total. A few question marks regarding, obviously, is D'Angelo Russell going to be there? Is he going to get traded? What's going on? How do you approach this game if nothing happens?
If nothing happens, I play it over, Joe. D'Angelo Russell back in the lineup, 223 to me, a low number. The Nets have shown, look at what Karis LeVert did the other night without Kyrie in the lineup. So I know I've been on this show a lot saying when Kyrie's in, I'm on the over. But the way Brooklyn's playing offensively now and meshing together, I'm kind of in on the over as long as it's in this price range against anybody, let alone a team like Golden State that can score as well. So if everybody's involved, to me, over 223, I like to use the term legalized stealing, but I think that's probably what that amounts to, over 223 between those two teams, if everybody's on the floor. And I know Kyrie's not playing, so
right.
Don't question me in the chat room, but Rob, Kyrie's not playing.
Yep. Track mixtape review. Ski wants to know, man, are you on the over too? Where are you going with this?
I was just trying to look up the first half numbers, but if I'm playing this game, if everything stays as it is, if D'Angelo Russell is playing, I agree with Rob. I like the over. D'Angelo Russell means pace. It means more scoring. Brooklyn can put up points. Both teams have been playing towards the over, especially Brooklyn at home. I would go towards over, and I was looking at the first half over, 114.5 probably would be good. And on the side, Brooklyn has been better offensively, defensively, rebounding last 5 games, so I'll go with Brooklyn and over.
What are you thinking, Finn? You going over here? You think it's where the money should be?
Well, I will say this: I'm on. My opinion rests on one variable alone, and that was there's been some sharp money in this game to the under. Yes, there has. It was seesawed a little bit, and just in the last few hours, you've seen some. And I can look at my charts and see that there's some sharp money. I haven't investigated it or who it might be, but when I see it, I'm going to investigate it, or at least I'm going to do my best to do some due diligence, find out where it's at before I make a decision. And listen, you got two sharp guys. They both like the over. Play the over. I don't have an opinion. I want to find out what the sharp money is.
Okay.
Well, if D'Angelo Russell's out, I would like the under.
That's probably, listen,
Well,
yeah,
that
something's
be.
happened.
Yeah, that's the guesswork, right? If somebody knows Russell's going,
Yes.
that's...
Yeah.
We're playing hypotheticals here, Joe.
We are.
If everybody's on the floor, we play over.
Exactly correct. Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. If everything remains the same, we're
Yeah.
looking at the over. But if D'Angelo Russell is moved here over the next couple hours, then absolutely the under. Maybe they know something. We don't. So, all right, best bet time here, guys. Let's go around the room here. I want to remind you guys, of course, you can get Tony and Ski over at WagerTalk.com. Make sure you get yourself over to Mr. Rob Vino over at SportsMemo.com. And don't forget the code, I believe it's JR210, gets you 30 days full access to Rob or just about anybody at Sports Memo. $210 gets you every play for 30 days. So, Rob, we'll start with you, man. Talk to me. What's your best bet on the card tonight? Where are you looking?
Let's go back a little bit, Joe, to something we talked about earlier, and I'll use the Toronto Raptors
Hold on, I
here.
didn't know. Tony, you're being told that Tony used to work the old phone sex lines. Wow, all right, good stuff. Well, we'll got to get to. We'll get a you're gonna have to do your play in that voice. But I'm sorry, Rob. Go ahead.
Oh man, we want to get to Tony's sex phone.
I want to get
voice. Yes.
pay me, bitch.
That's
right.
Holy cow!
In the sex phone voice from the '80s. Yes. Go ahead, Rob. I apologize.
I'm getting up there, Tony. It'll take a lot to arouse me. I want to see what you got over there.
I can't wait myself. Yes.
I'm going to go back to the Detroit. Excuse me, the Indiana-Toronto game. Jesus Christ, Tony, you got me all flustered over here.
Exactly. It's just something about that, right? Yeah. Look at. Oh, good Christ, he's winking at me. You know what?
Tony Finn and phone sex. I'm all screwed up over here.
I threw him for a loop. My bad. I'm sorry.
I was trying to say Toronto.
Jazz hands.
No, don't use those after talking about phone sex, please. Toronto -6. Let me just spit that out and pass it to Ski. I got nothing to say.
You
Toronto
need a minute.
-6.
Hold on for a minute. Let's get okay. There we go. How's that? Does that make everyone else feel better there? All right. There we go. And we're back. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Pacers-Raptors game, guys, I know it's a back-to-back, and I had said earlier that you use this game for some information for a play a couple days from now, but I still think that Toronto at home is worthwhile here. They've shown the ability without Marc Gasol. It doesn't really matter. I think they showed the ability at home to force teams to run, even if it's for segments during the game, which is what they like to do. I know Nate McMillan, nice defensive-minded coach, but I haven't seen the Indiana defense that we've seen in recent years. So give me Toronto -6. I think that's a low enough number that we can get through there. And, of course, the T.J. Warren injury is just big to me.
Well, it is. That's a good point there. I'm going to hold off for you a little later there, Tony. Let's go to Ski. Come on, Ski. You got to be able to get this out for Finn starts dialing up 1-900 here. So go ahead, man. Talk to me. Best bet.
Well, I do. I'll save Tony's favorite team for him to do his Jazz hands.
Yes.
And I'll go dog shopping. I think at least if you take one, if you take both, I think at least one will win. Take them straight up to win. You get Atlanta plus 155. You get Memphis plus 175. I think one of them wins.
Interesting. One of those is going to pull it out there, and that's good. We didn't talk about the game, but Memphis absolutely, and Dallas. Don't know who the hell's playing for them either. So, all right, Finn. Ring. What's your favorite? What's your best bet here, Finn?
Yesterday was Milwaukee, and they came through for us. I'm going to go off grid here on a game we haven't discussed at all, but I like, and regardless of the number two, the point spread, I like the over in the Cleveland-Oklahoma City game, 221. I think there's a number. Cleveland won't. I don't care if they're down 100 points. They don't quit playing. I like Oklahoma City at home with the totals. They have a big margin. They're about 6 to 7 points.
How big
on the
is
season?
It?
6 to 7 points over the closing number on average, which is, guys, it doesn't sound like a lot. It's a lot. I like the over.
Yeah, he's going over. I love it. By the way, you guys, it's only
Jazz hands.
$39.99 a minute. You can get Tony Finn at 1-900 Finn. That's correct. You get your Jazz hands. You get a little bit of everything there. So kudos there. Well done there, Finn. Well done. All right, Shits and Giggles looking to make a rebound here tonight, guys. And there's only two ways I'm going here, and I'm going dog shopping again. Screw that chalky shit. I don't care. Give me the damn Atlanta Hawks and give me the Miami Heat. Money line parlay for both. Shits and Giggles time. Tony Finn, what do you think?
I booked that one.
Oh, you're going to book. All right.
I'm going to book that one.
There we go. What do you think, Ski? We Shits and Giggles, more giggles than shits tonight? What do you think?
A little more giggles. I don't know if I trust Miami to win on the road, but I love Atlanta.
Damn it.
The money line? Is this a money line or is this a point spread?
I'm going to money line it. But yes,
all right.
I mean, if you want to take the chance to be careful, be my guest. Enjoy yourself. But to me, the Heat in Atlanta, I don't get the Atlanta game at all. I don't understand why anybody would make the Minnesota Timberwolves a 4.5, 5-point favorite. It's a little baffling. But for those of you that remain in the chat room and continue to want to listen to Tony in his sex line, I apologize. It is time for us to go, but we will be back tomorrow. Don't forget, Ski and Tony, WagerTalk.com. Rob Vino, sportsmemo.com. You can always catch me every day over at sportsgrid.com. So a lot of ways for you to reach us, and always right here each and every day with the NBA Tip-Off Show, guys, breaking it down for you. So on behalf of Tony Finn's Sex Line, we appreciate
listen,
you. Yes,
Joe, make sure they're here. Make sure they're here tomorrow, because there's one game tomorrow, a big game. I'm gonna lay it out for you. Big. It's a big sex line game. It's a big sex line game.
It's a big. All right, so it is a big game according to Finn tomorrow. But in the meantime, big games tonight. So good luck with your plays, guys. No matter what you do, and make sure you come back, like this video, guys. Tell your friends, and come back and join us again. So good luck with your plays, Rob, Ski, Tony.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks for having us.
Got his thing right over here. Be good, guys. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Orange Man out. That's right. That's right. That's the big sex game. There it is.